And let's talk about this dang old Dak flip. So the formation was condensed. I see guys are just running away from me. So I kind of like freed up a little bit. So I see that looking like he was finna run. I know that look in his eyes. I done seen it many times at Mississippi State. But what's the biggest thing is the fact that I did not think he would try to jump over me. I really thought he was gonna try to run me over because he can squat. He a heavy squatter. I got up there and I see him like gathering his foot like he finna do a windmill 360 or something. I said, I know Dak ain't think he finna clear me. Gotta hit him. Bam. And I'm kind of sad that my dog landed on his head because that could be concussion protocol. And I want my dog to be in concussion protocol, but I talked to him. I said, Dak, man, what you trying to jump on me for? He said, Slay, man, I got to try to score. That's what type of guy you want on your team. You want a leader like that that's willing to risk his body to put his team in a winning position and, you know, at least try. Like, you want a quarterback that does that. So you got to give your respect to Dak.
When I tell you one of the best leaders I've been around, and that's saying a lot. You know Drew, you know what I mean? And Tom obviously speak for himself. But that boy can lead you into a pack of wolves. Like he got that dog in him, and the fact that he keeps going. What I love about his story, you know, he loses his mom, loses his brother, and the fact that he can keep on going, and a lot of this stuff don't bother him. Like that's a dog right there.
It's crazy to me that opposing players off of a team that's considered one of the Dallas Cowboys' hated rival can give Dak Prescott credit where it's due, but a lot of us in our own fan base can't seem to do that. You heard Brandon Cooks also comment on Dak Prescott's leadership abilities and put it up there with the likes of Tom Brady and Drew Brees. But I don't want to sit here and make this whole video all about Dak Prescott as a leader. We understand who Dak Prescott is. He's a man that's had to weather the storm of life, all while having one of the biggest public spotlights in the world beaming directly upon his head. And all he has done is grin and bear through it, produced highly efficient quarterback numbers, all while being the primary target of the media and the ire of all the fans that just can't stand the Dallas Cowboys. Again, I don't want to make this all about his leadership. We understand who he is as the Walter Payton Man of the Year. We understand what his character is made of. I played those clips mainly for the haters in the back, because if the opposing players can give his credit and the opposing players can tell you that's the type of guy I want to play with, that's the type of guy I want on my team, then who are we as fans to be able to say he ain't got it? He ain't got that dog in him. He don't have enough toughness. He don't have this or that. When the players are telling you 100% he's that dude. He got that dog in him. Not only that, but this year he has the stats to back up that dog. Quietly but surely, even though Dak Prescott is nowhere to be found on the mid-season MVP reports, quietly but surely, Dak Prescott is putting together one of, if not his best season as a professional, even while being handcuffed in the beginning half of this year. About week 1 through 5, he was essentially handcuffed with a 2-step and 3-step drop offense that was designed to get the ball out of his hand as quick as possible, and severely limited his playmaking abilities and limited a lot of his strengths just as a quarterback. Again, people talk all the time about his leadership, but he's amazing when throwing the ball on the run. His accuracy throwing the ball on the run is honestly top tier in the league. Contrary to popular belief, he has great pocket presence, all while maintaining good mechanics for a quarterback. We've seen his anticipation really take a step up this year. You can take a look at some of the quarterback breakdowns by Chase Daniel and some of the other professional NFL quarterbacks. If you don't want to take my word for it, I highly recommend checking it out. Chase Daniel's doing a really good job doing film breakdowns for Dak Prescott. And that's not even to mention the fact that he started to use his legs a lot more this year than we've seen him do in the last couple of years. But Dak Prescott stacked up head to head with essentially is the benchmark of quarterbacks for our generation right now. Patrick Mahomes, EPA per play, meaning expected points added per play. Dak Prescott is ranked 5th in the league. Patrick Mahomes is ranked 3rd. Passer rating, Dak Prescott is ranked 7th in the league. Patrick Mahomes is ranked 11th. QBR, Dak Prescott 4th, Patrick Mahomes 3rd. Passing touchdown percentage, Dak Prescott 8th, Patrick Mahomes 6th. And again, Keep in mind, guys, this all is including the fact that in 2 or 3 of these games, Dak Prescott barely even played in the fourth quarter. In fact, I'm sure we have seen Cooper Rush time be activated at least twice this year, for sure in the Giants game, and I believe we saw him again recently in these past couple of weeks. I think it was against the Rams. So keep in mind, Dak Prescott had a chance to pad even more stats or try to add on to his stats to make him look good and try to get some cheap tush-push type points for his statistics this season, but he hasn't. Him and the Cowboys have done such a thorough job of beating up on teams when they really should be beating up on them that a lot of the starters for the Cowboys numbers are actually very, very tilted and are running on the low side because people like CD, Dak, hell, Brandon Cook, some of the other receivers, Ferg, a lot of these guys could possibly have a lot more statistics if they didn't take 2 games off and then have a bye week already. But passing TD percentage, Dak 8th, Pat 6th. Interception percentage, Dak 14th, Pat 18th. Completion percentage, Dak 3rd, Pat 7th. Completion percentage over expected, Dak 9th, Pat 11th. Success rate, Dak 6th, Pat 5th. Adjusted net yards per attempt, Dak 10th, Pat 8th. Average ranking for all the stats above, Dak 7th, Patrick 8th. And this nice little thread was compiled by Outlaw Cowboy over on X, but I think this does an excellent job of this kind of illustrating the kind of season that Dak Prescott is having. We always use Patrick Mahomes as kind of like the standard bearer for quarterbacks in the NFL. In fact, I heard our radio station make a joke that the Cowboys went to the thrift shop and picked up something out the designer bin and it was Dak Prescott versus going and buying a Patrick Mahomes, right? Dak Prescott is putting up comparable numbers to Patrick Mahomes this season at least. This season is the only season that matters because guess what? We can't hop in a time machine and go back and change anything that happened in any previous year. So all we can do is cheer on this season and leave what happened in the past in the past. The fact of the matter is, as Cowboys fans, we have a top 3 for sure quarterback in our entire conference. Regardless of how you want to stack it up, regardless of how you want to look at it, if you take a look at these 3 players all compared to each other, these would be looked at as probably the best 3 quarterbacks over in the NFC with Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, and Jalen Hurts right now. If you take a look at all 3 of these guys, Dak Prescott has the best completion percentage. The passing yards are pretty similar, almost negligible, especially if you take into account Dak didn't play some of those fourth quarters, and Jared Goff and Dak have both had a bye week, so obviously I feel like their yards would probably be right there with Jalen Hurts as if that wasn't the case. Passing yards per attempt, you see that all 3 of those quarterbacks are pretty much playing at a similar clip there. Passing yards per game, Jared Goff has more because he's been involved in more shootouts. Passing TDs, Jalen Hurts has 15, Dak has 13, Jared Goff has 12. Interceptions, Dak and Goff has 5, Jalen Hurts has 8. Quarterback rating, Dak has the best quarterback rating out of those 3 guys. And we're not going to pay too much attention to the rushing statistics because I'm going to be real, bro. I just can't give Jalen Hurts credit for the tush-push touchdowns. I can't. I just can't, guys. I'm sorry. I know he has 7 rushing touchdowns on the season, but I think all of us know that literally at least 6 of those are probably tush-pushes. And, bro, I can't, bro, because to me, that feels like a stat padding type of play. You can easily hand the ball off to your running back right there and give him that 1-yard touchdown. That feels like something that they're doing to artificially inflate the quarterback's numbers. I'm gonna be real, bro. Jalen Hurts is a really good player, but that stuff right there is artificially inflated. Like, let's be real, y'all. You can literally put any player back there in that position and the same thing would happen. So I'm not going to count all the tush pushes and stuff and look at that and applaud Jalen Hurts for having 7 rushing touchdowns because no, we know how they're happening. But either way, if you look at all 3 of these quarterbacks, and if you just look at the primary statistic that used to be used to tell people how good a quarterback is, Dak Prescott is playing better football than Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. And again, this is when he's taken 2 games off essentially in the fourth quarter and one of them damn near in the second half. Oh, you don't want to go by the old quarterback rating statistic to let you know how well the quarterback is playing overall? Okay, let's look at the newer one. We have Dak Prescott ranked 4th in the league with total QBR at 67.5. 3 spots ahead of Jalen Hurts and 5 spots ahead of Jared Goff. So my point here is we have one of the best quarterbacks in the league on our team. Whether you hate Dak or love Dak, it doesn't matter. The numbers that he's putting up this year, the numbers that quite frankly he's put up over the last couple of seasons, shows you Dak Prescott is 100% one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's definitely, for sure, indisputably a top 3 quarterback over in the NFC. Opposing players respect him. Players that play with him love him. We have never heard a single negative thing come out about Dak Prescott that wasn't perpetuated by some sort of parody account on Twitter. And I think us as fans are actually being very underappreciative of the type of quarterback play that we've been enjoying over the last 7 to 8 seasons with Dak Prescott. I get it. We want to win championships. I 100% understand that. But does that mean that if your team does not win a championship, then none of the seasons in between those times mattered? None of the seasons in between those times are worth enjoying. None of those seasons are worth remembering. None of those seasons are worth being fans of the team, essentially, is what you're telling me. If a team doesn't win a championship, if they don't win the Super Bowl, that means that none of the players that came through those teams deserve to even be remembered. That's what you're telling me? Even if those teams and players always stayed competitive to the point to where, as a fan of the team, you were able to have a vested rooting interest later into the seasons. Even though it's not as late as we wanted, we had a vested rooting interest later into the seasons more times than not. We were able to go to the playoffs and at least have hope that something crazy might happen. For any generation of players, not just Dak Prescott in this current iteration of the Cowboys, does that mean that if they're not winning Super Bowls that we can't enjoy the time that they spent here? We can't be appreciative of being able to watch those teams in action? Or would you rather be in a situation that the Cleveland Browns are in, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the Carolina Panthers, or the New Orleans Saints, or one of these teams that are trapped in quarterback purgatory, have not had a franchise quarterback since their old franchise quarterbacks either left or retired, and now they're stuck playing in mediocrity, and those fan bases have to watch an offense that they have no confidence in what they're going to be able to do from drive to drive. They have no confidence in whether or not the quarterback can make any throws or can do anything the right way or can win in any kind of capacity in the NFL. They have no confidence that their team is going to give them something that's actually worth watching. Is that what y'all are telling me as fans, that if we're not winning Super Bowls, then these teams and sports and players and all this stuff isn't even worth cheering for? Because if that's the case, then we all just need to turn off our TVs until the playoff starts. If that's the case, if that's how we're going to watch sports, and we can only appreciate players and teams if they're winning championships, which only one team out of the 30 plus teams in these professional leagues do, then there's no point in even watching these sports until the last game of the season. That's essentially what y'all are telling me, and I just completely disagree with that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm very aware of my mortality. I'm very aware that life is short, and I'm not gonna sit here and rob myself of being able to enjoy things because I'm trying to hold myself to some type of manufactured standard that honestly shouldn't play a part in how much you're enjoying watching your teams. There's fans and teams all over the country that ain't winning a damn thing, but the fans are having the time of their life watching the players on their teams. They're keeping up with these players. They're appreciating the players that are good, that are coming through their programs and are playing well. Why can't we do that for Dak? Why can't we do that for CeeDee Lamb? Why can't we do that for Micah Parsons? Even if these guys never win a Super Bowl in their life, none of them, Micah, CeeDee, none of them, does that mean that we can't look back and be like, damn, we had some really damn good players come through our system. We couldn't get it done, but those were some fun-ass teams to watch. See, that's more so where I'm at with it. Obviously, I want to win a Super Bowl, but I'm not going to base my entire sports watching experience off of whether or not the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl or not, because let's be real, y'all. It's been almost 30 years. If I did that, I would hate sports. Appreciate your quarterback, appreciate your team, root for your team, cheer your team on, have fun watching the games. Don't let these things get you too high or too low, man. Just have fun rooting your team on until it's not time to root them on anymore. And just hope for the best. Hope for good health, good luck, and good play. And hopefully at some point we can put all this stuff together and make a magical run, and it'll be even more sweeter when it happens, right? But y'all know always in these videos, how about them Cowboys? Take it away, Pastor.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.